I could remember vividly yesterday I tried to withdraw the sum of 10,000 naira, and the point of sales person says that I cannot get it at the usual 200 naira, that I have to pay is it 600 naira. I have to keep appealing to him that could you please make it 500, and before he eventually asks for it. For if you look at now what you are trading off to get your money is becoming a problem, and it's quite saddening at this point in time that you go to ATM, you cannot get money to withdraw. You go to bank, they ration what you can collect. Then this is bringing a lot of problem. Having on the understanding that we have issue of purchasing power. Now the little one that we have again is being eroded by this issue of unavailability of naira. It's quite sad, and I think this is the point at which we want to really justify and see how effective this current CBN is doing.
Well, one would say that history is obviously repeating itself. However, right, the CBN had assured that we have enough, currency in circulation. But what is going on, or the reality on ground, obviously contradicts, the comments made by the CBN. Who is to take this blame? Is it the Central Bank of Nigeria, or the commercial banks? Right,
thank you so much. I think the first person to take responsibility is Central Bank of Nigeria, led by Yemi Cardoso, because you agree with me that this thing has been happening. However, there's a as at last year December, if you recall, that is what we actually went through. It's very, very sad. So right, the thing is that they must have seen what is going on. Now I just read through what the spokesperson of CBN said, that they have increased from 1 trillion to 3.1 trillion in the economy. So if 3.1 trillion is in the economy, and the commercial bank says, money deposit bank in particular says, they went to central bank to collect money and it was not available. So it simply means it is CBN. And apart from that, again, I think CBN should get a mechanism that they can use to really get that. One, CBN can introduce what we call mystery shoppers. Mystery shoppers will go around to money deposit bank and see how effective they are doing. Perhaps, if you also go to the Bureau de Change, you see that even they are also complaining that there is no availability of naira. So if you ask me, I think it's problem of CBN. Should be at this point in time should be able to justify how much in circulation, put out policy and strategy that will make people get the money. And you won't blame Nigerians. If I have some money cash now, it will be pretty difficult for me to take it to bank. Simply because I will recall what I experienced last year, and I wouldn't want to trade off such.
Before we delve, into that in details. Well, of course, you recall that last year, with this controversy of naira scarcity and all of that, when commercial banks came up with stories that, oh no, we don't have enough, of the new notes, that were redesigned last year in our possession, the CBN had to set up some sort of inquiry committee to go around these banks, and of course it was made public that these monies were actually hoarded. So should that be the case at this point in time?
Well, I don't think there is even holding.
Because the CBN is saying there's enough cash in circulation.
Yes, I wouldn't want to believe there is holding.
The deposit money banks are saying no.
I wouldn't want to agree with that, because now you recall that CBN has actually failed under Emefiele. I can say that simply because you told us that you recall that President Muhammad Buhari himself came out and said it's only 200 naira that will be available for the old, and the new will be 500 and 1,000 respectively. But watch it everywhere now. You can't even find the new naira note. So that means there is no adequate naira note being produced already. That's the problem. Perhaps they must have even shredded some money.
Is that the case, or this monies were mopped up?
No, I can't believe it's mopped up, because if you look at the gap, that's about 10 months gap. It does not reflect that there is enough money that was printed. So if you had printed enough money that time, and we have old money working pari passu together, so there wouldn't have been problem of cash crunch. So it simply means that there is not enough naira. Then if there is even what we call holding as well, whose responsibility is to make sure that the money is still their responsibility. And that's why I wouldn't want this currency to be giving us excuse. You remember, even as bad as we could say about the past administration in terms of CBN handlers, you also see that they also bring about e-naira. Now you have dumped that e-naira, you have dumped all those areas. You must work on those things, because you can't say zero to all what your predecessors are saying. You have to take it.
The e-naira scheme has died a natural death.
Right, and that's the problem we are suffering now, because you can't tell me that if Nigerian civil servants are being paid with e-naira, remember, it will trickle down to who will buy from them, and before you know, we engage in using it. So there must be a strategy. You know, you don't just bring a strategy or a policy, you must also work on the enablers that will make it work. So the enablers remain the major important things that you must put in place at every point in time.
All right, let me, take you by your words. You said with the cash you have, in your possession at this point in time, you are even skeptical about going to even deposit this money in the bank, because you don't want to go through, the same stress you went through to even access this money. So again, it tells you, one thing, that the financial inclusion, drive, I mean, the effort the government has actually put into this all these years is about to go down the drain.
Right. I wouldn't say the financial inclusion is bad, because if you go to a lot of places, the POS. Remember, when you say financial inclusion, that means availability of naira in the circulation. Right? Go to the core area. There is nowhere you go in Nigeria you not see it.